Yo, everybody, my name is j.Pinkay,
I'm Sharíck LaMay.
and this is officially the first episode of Limelight Live,
Live.
baby.
Step into the limelight.
All
What's
right.
up?
We got a theme song.
We got a theme song. We're in the studio.
We are at the Good News Radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome again. This is your girl Sharíck LaMay and my co-host
j.Pinkay, you know what it is.
j.Pinkay.
I did a little switch up.
The
I used to
name.
go by J-Pin, but I was like, you know what? I want like my last name to have a little more relevance online. Bring up my SEO. So I was like, let me put that out there.
Okay, well, j.Pinkay and Sharíck LaMay rhyme too, so I'm with it.
Yeah, we with it, and
Well,
we on the radio.
I know. Well, first of all, shout out to Miku for the theme song. He co-produced that with Cheyenne G, and then he laid some amazing vocals on that. So yeah, we got a theme song.
Yeah.
Popping.
It was good. It was really good. It's actually a reproduction of our last theme song. So, what I guess what we should do is kind of introduce ourselves and who we are. We've got a brand new audience. I mean, we've got followers from our previous platform, but now we're on the Good News Radio. And well, I mean, hey, I guess we got to let them know who we are.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to Keith and shout out to Daniel who actually brought us into this. And Daniel, we had on our LaMay Limelight show, which was a couple years ago. He came on and he was just really awesome, and we really vibed and connected with him. So when he made the call, we answered. So
Bam.
shout out to you.
Bam. Period.
Well, I'll let you go first.
Okay. So, first off, I'm j.Pinkay. And we started this as a movement for creatives. There are a lot of people in LA and I mean across the nation that work in creative industries, whether that be film, music, culinary, digital arts, tech. It can be, there's so many varieties of creative industries, and that's really what we wanted to do, is create a space for you to get tips, tricks, or just candid conversations about things that really happen in our lives and how we navigate our careers.
Right.
And we, coming from experience, just knew that those conversations weren't happening. And so when Sharíck and I got together to create this platform, that's basically what we did. To give a little background on me, so I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been in LA now for 11 years. And a lot of people don't know this, but I worked in the fashion industry for about 12 years. I had my own footwear line. I was developing fabrics. I was traveling the world with this footwear company. And then I transitioned out of that into editorial writing. I'm a senior editor and contributing writer to a variety of platforms, including Obvious Magazine, SoCal Magazine, and I write about food, I write about fashion, I write about events, and I review a lot of different things that happen here in LA. And then my most creative aspect has been my foray into public relations, where I've taken on a countless number of clients in a number of industries, whether it be cannabis, food, fashion, beauty, lifestyle, tech. What that has made me do is become the biggest creative that I need to be, because my role in that realm has been to create the narrative for my clients. I've had to help them create their story, because a lot of times, you have an idea and you have a product, but you don't know what the story is.
Exactly.
And so then that's where I stepped in. And a lot of times, like, my clients have been like, wow, you really pulled something that I wasn't seeing. I just had my product. And I was like, well, yeah, we got to create the story behind it.
Right.
And, that's allowed me to expand into a variety of things, overall, just kind of branding, marketing, media, and then even this show, that's me. That's kind of like the many hats of j.Pinkay.
I know. And it's so funny because when you mention public relations, and then you also mention allowing people to tell their story, more than that, it's telling the story that people want to hear.
Exactly.
And sometimes creatives don't understand that. I also come from a PR background as well, which is, we'll definitely get into that, the wonderful world of public relations. But there's just so much that creatives and even people, I like to think that everybody is creative.
Yeah.
We all have creativity to us, no matter what.
Mhm.
So being able to really hone into that and develop it and make it into something that you can live your life on, it's a whole other ball game. So I love that you mentioned that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's about creating a story that audiences connect with.
Right.
Right. And so I think that's where I flex my biggest muscle. So,
all right.
Yeah, my biggest creative muscle, that is. Oh. And by the way, like, you don't have to be a creative to tune into us and learn anything from us. By all means, I mean, we have people from all types of industries and backgrounds that listen to us and learn something new. So by all means, I think it's just a matter of like, listen to what we got to say. We got some good things to share.
Absolutely. And, you know, today's show, we're talking about something that I think a lot of people can relate to, regardless of what industry that you're in. So we'll definitely get into that. Are you done? Because I know
I'm done. Yeah, baby. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sharíck, please, by all means.
So I am Sharíck LaMay. I am the founder, CEO of Limelight Productions, which kind of encapsulates all of these different creative industries. More recently, I have been producing on a lot of music videos, web content. I just did version 1 and the remix of Soulja Boy Make It Clap video, which was pretty interesting. I'm sure we'll talk about all of my
applause.
Thank you. So just did that. I've worked with Tiana Taylor. I've worked with just a host of really amazing creatives. So I've just been into this industry kind of all over the place. I started with PR.
It's funny because like I'll hit you up and be like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And you're like, oh, I'm flying to Vegas because I'm filming a video with Tiana. I'm like, oh, well, okay, well then I guess I won't invite you to brunch.
Oh, yeah, well. You know,
because my girl be booked.
I be booked, and it's random, and that's the thing about this industry. You guys will definitely hear a lot. We're not going to, of course, put ourselves in compromising positions, but we'll be able to give you some stories on this show. So stay tuned for that. But I started off as a dancer, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I started off as a dancer. Moved to LA just with a hope and a dream and a car that broke down as soon as I got here.
Okay.
And went to school and finished school in PR, got into PR, realized about 2 years in that it wasn't for me. Just was not for me. I did learn valuable things from it, however, which I think helped me to develop my career even more. But yeah, PR was fun until it wasn't. And then I realized,
oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. And I realized, girl, you're supposed to be in front of the camera. So I ended up randomly being asked to do red carpets and hosting, you know, I did BET Awards and all these wonderful award shows, and I really grew a liking to it. And then from there, I was like, why don't I take my own camera instead of having to wait around on people and just do it myself? Yeah. And then that developed into LaMay Productions, and us actually starting our own production company that actually goes out to red carpets, does interviews. We meet all kinds of wonderful, amazing people. And then I met you through the lovely Miss Kisa Sullivan, KS Consulting. Got to give her a shout out.
Shout out to Kisa.
Clap for her.
Hey,
if you're watching, she connected us.
Yeah.
Actually, you had a radio show.
I did. I had you on as a guest.
Yes.
And we had a vibe. It's so funny. It wasn't even my radio show. I was a producer on the show.
Right.
And my host was out of town. And so when that would happen, like I would take the radio, and then every week we had a different guest host. That week was Sharíck's week. And I mean, from that episode, a lot of people were like, y'all's energy was really good together. Y'all matched well. And I was like, oh, thanks. You know, and we just stayed connected. You know, we were like, let's do something in the future. We don't know what that's going to be. But it'll be something because the vibe was right.
Yeah.
The vibe was right.
So shout out to Cameo Live. That was fun.
That was a good time.
I got a lot of gigs off of that.
Yeah.
Because I actually took clips from me talking on there and submitted myself to some things. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then I went on to LaMay Day and became a creative correspondent. I did some of your red carpets.
Definitely,
you know,
and those were fun.
They were really fun.
You have red carpet stories?
I mean, there was that time I met, what's his name? Reverend. Oh. That was really fun.
Reverend, and I definitely did his brother.
Oh wait, no, that's who I met.
Oh,
Russell Simmons, Uncle Russ.
Yeah. Oh, we
were that together
twice.
Yes,
I did him twice. That was awesome. Yeah, those were fun times. So now that we're back open, I'm excited to hit these red carpets again because.
Are we back open? Because you know that mask mandate is going back into effect.
Just come out today.
Shoot, we should have our masks on now.
We have mic condoms.
For those of you obviously who can't see, there's these new things that we're putting on our microphones. Apparently they're the same materials that we use on our face masks. They go over the mics. They're disposable. So the studio calls them mic condoms. So.
I love it. But yeah, I did just hear about that. That just came out today. Miku told me before we were leaving the house. What does this mean?
Well, okay, so there's been a very quick spike in COVID cases, like within the past few days. And that comes shortly after, how free and liberated we've been, because there's been a lot of businesses that have allowed you to no longer wear masks inside, including grocery stores and restaurants. I think at their own discretion. I think it's just by law, they don't have to anymore. But now the mandate is going back into effect because the numbers are spiking.
Do you know, again. I went to the store last night and I was like, darn, I forgot my mask. And it was like midnight and I'm like, we're not going back to the house. But Mika was like, oh, I think it's okay. I think we can go inside. And when I went inside, I felt like I was a slave running away from somebody, because I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. People were looking at me and it's like, are you supposed to have your mask on? So it's really weird. I think I'm gonna feel more comfortable going back to wearing masks, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I think so. It's still weird waters.
Yeah.
Right now, because it's just numbers are up and down in different cities. I don't know. I mean, whatever. And then according to this Delta variant, what they're saying is that the vaccinated people are still very susceptible to that variant of the virus. Child, don't get me started. I don't even want to make this a COVID show, but just throwing that back out there.
This is crazy. So all you guys, please be careful out there. And then I'm still in the house for the most part. I got invited to a Space Jam event tonight. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna go, regardless if I was on the show or not, because I don't know. I don't know. Being on set is enough, because I mean, specifically with sets, we have to get tested every single day, at least the larger productions that are following protocol.
Yeah.
So I feel kind of comfortable. Like my first couple of times I was kind of looking at people weird, but we literally have a COVID compliance officer, which is what they call them, CCO, on set. And then they test you every single day. So that's been okay for me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for the big events yet.
I was on set for a game show, and I won't name the game show because I was a contestant and I did horribly on it. But we had a COVID compliance officer too, and they were super strict. Like if they saw you, like we were in this holding area and we could talk to people, but you had to be like literally a table away. Like they had tables of distance between all of us, and that's your area. So if you like got anywhere closer beyond that space, the officer came and told you like you have to go back to your area. Like they would stay on it, and I'd be like, all right, girl,
okay,
back up. You a little too close too.
Okay. All right. What month was that?
This was like back in May. I think April or May.
Okay, so we were still kind of in it. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully things are lifting back up. Shout out to everybody who did go see Space Jam. I do kind of want to see it.
Oh, I want to see it. I'm going to watch it at home on HBO Max, So
okay,
that'll be my thing.
Yeah, going to the movies and stuff has just been a whole different experience.
So this past weekend, I went to go see Black Widow.
Oh, I haven't even seen it.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to say this a few times throughout the series. Like, I'm a big Marvel fan. Huge MCU fan. So I'm there opening night to all the movies. Black Widow came out last week. I was there. I was in New York actually when I got to see it. And I went to an AMC, and it was like there was like nobody there, which was perfect. So I went with my homie Paco. Shout out to Paco. And it was such a good movie.
It was. I haven't seen it yet.
It was really good.
I'm even kicking myself for not watching Loki last night before I came to see you. So I don't want to hear it. Don't say nothing.
Okay, I won't say anything, but all I'm gonna say is the setup. MCU is good for the setup.
Okay.
And that finale was everything.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Don't say nothing else to me. I accidentally got on Facebook and did see a post, which excited me, but made me like, oh my God, I gotta watch it. Because me and you did talk about the fact that I was really upset that Lovecraft Country isn't coming back. And your boy, can you please remind me of his name?
Jonathan Majors.
It looks like he had an appearance on Loki.
Do you want me to tell you?
No, but I just saw the picture and I'm like, dang, I would have loved that surprise. But people messed it up.
I mean,
everybody messed it up.
Well, I'm not gonna say.
But I'm excited.
But I could say something.
Well, okay.
Well, because he was.
Miku said no.
I'm not going to say anything about Loki.
Okay.
But Jonathan Majors was confirmed for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is coming out next year, and he's going to be the villain there.
I'm excited.
And that's all I'm going to say. But like I said, the setup was good.
So that, and then they announced that Deadpool is officially a part of the MCU now.
Correct. Right? Correct. We're going into a territory called the multiverse, which is allowing characters from different productions to come to enter the MCU, which is it's very smart.
I just love it. And I love that it's becoming Chocolate City on MCU too. I'm all here for it.
Listen, baby.
I am for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so aside from that, I do want to get into our main topic of discussion because we have some awesome people here in the audience as well that I want to introduce as we get into it and just ask you guys some questions too, just, randomly off the top of the dome. But today we're talking about transplant dichotomy, which is the act of relocating to a new city.
Yeah. I chose this title because, okay, one, LA is full of transplants. I mean, Sharíck, you and I myself, we're transplants here. And dichotomy means the mixing of two things that don't typically belong together. Right. And so it's like you're just looking at or understanding something that doesn't normally go together and what that looks like. Right. And when you think about it, a lot of people relocate here, whether it's for your career, whether it's for the weather, a multitude of reasons. A lot of people relocate for a number of reasons. And I think we should explore that.
Yeah, definitely. So do you want to go first and talk about your decision to relocate? You said you moved here 11
years ago. Yeah. So, here I am, like this small town queer Latin boy in Louisiana, right? I was born in New Orleans, and I grew up in like the smaller towns outskirts.
What's the name? You gotta tell me the name.
So, my family lives in Laplace, Louisiana. If you read it on paper, it looks like Laplace, but it's pronounced Laplace.
Okay.
Trifling, just off.
Okay.
And it's in the sticks, like it's definitely country. And for me, I was in college and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Like I was studying communications and I was minoring in English and I knew I liked to write, but then I started like getting involved with events in the city. And we're talking post Hurricane Katrina, and a lot of people just wanted to party. And so different production companies and promoters were starting to pop up with like these large scale events because people had all this FEMA money and they were spending it on going out. And I became a promotions and talent manager for a company down there. And I just loved that whole thing. And they hired me to produce this big time fashion show during Essence Festival. This was a historic thing because we were the first company, and it was a Black owned company, to block off a section of Bourbon Street. No one has ever done that. And that's where we did our show.
Wow.
Like we built a runway. We had Swiss Beats perform. At the time, the brands Apple Bottom, Live Mechanics, and Ed Hardy were really big. This was back in 2007, 2008. And so they were like the premier brand sponsors for our show. And like I put that together. Like I was the director, I hired the models. I got the designers together. And that was like a big thing. And it was a very pivotal moment for me because I was like, what am I doing in Louisiana? Because I wouldn't, outside of Essence Festival, I wouldn't have had that opportunity there. I could have done like little shows here and there, which I did, but it wasn't fulfilling and it also wasn't paying.
Got it.
So I had to figure out something. And I was like, am I going to grow here? I don't know. My best friend, Darcy, said she was moving to LA. She was like,
come. Darcy. Shout out to Darcy.
Shout out to Darcy. She just had a baby.
Oh, yes, she did. Cutie too.
And she was like, come out with me while I move, like just come spend a week or two with me. And so I go and I fell in love with this city. I had been conditioned to thinking that my world only existed in New Orleans. Like that's what it was and that's what it needed to be. And I think a lot of people from smaller cities kind of think like that. And it just opened my eyes to a gamut of opportunities. And I said, I need to end up here. What am I doing? What am I doing? If I want to make real moves, I have to get out of my comfort zone and I have to go to somewhere where, I can't be a big fish in a small pond. I need to dive into that ocean and, find some territories. And so sure enough, what I did was I did some research. I said, I don't want to go there without a plan. And I was like, I'll go into school. I left UNO, the college I was at back in New Orleans, and I left my communications program and I looked for fashion schools, art schools. I went into the fashion marketing program, and that's what moved me to LA. It was like a reason, right? It was kind of like a cushion.
It is me. It's muted. Okay. Sorry, we're having some slight technical difficulties. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's what got me out here. So it was a cushion and it worked. It made me real.
But I commend you. At what point did you say, okay, I got to stay?
You know, my first few years here felt like a vacation.
Okay.
It didn't dawn on me that I lived here. I just felt like I was on a really long trip.
Okay.
And mind you, I was in school, I started working, and I was doing things, but I didn't feel like I was home yet. It started to hit me more when I traveled back to Louisiana and realized that my persona, who I was and who I was becoming, no longer fit the environment that I grew up in.
Right.
It was like I like to call it reverse culture shock. You know, where you go back to somewhere that you know.
Have you guys experienced that going back home?
Reverse culture shock. That's what it felt like to me. I went back and I was like, this doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And so that's when it felt more like LA was becoming home for me, because I was growing as a person. I was growing as a professional, and this city allowed that, you know? And so that's kind of really how it felt like for me.
Yeah. Does LA feel like home to you now?
It does. It does. I mean, in this amount of time, 11 years, definitely, I feel like I've planted roots here. I think before, for a while, I was like, oh, I'm going to end up in another city. I want to move to New York. I want to live here, there, whatever. And as time has progressed, it feels like LA